everybody. Welcome back to Pandemic Gaga's cooking show. Glad to have you. We're going to do our meringue today. And I've decided to just use 4 egg whites. 4. It takes 2 egg whites to make a batch. I'm making a double batch. So I'm using 4 egg whites. And you mix them. I already went ahead and got started. You mix them until they are frothy. Frothy means they'll turn kind of white and they'll look kind of more of just white, but they're not thick or nothing. And once they turn white and are frothy, we're going to add a half of a teaspoon of cream of tartar. We're going to add that. Don't add it until they're frothy. So until your egg whites, which are kind of clear, turn frothy, turn white. And then you add that. If you don't, you have to add, meringue is very finicky. You have to add in order, and you have to add slowly. And everything has to be mixed thoroughly. But you cannot overmix. How'd that be? Michael is in the background every now and then. He's making our hummingbird feed. Another batch. We go through a lot of hummingbird feed batches. Now, once this is mixed with the cream of tartar added to it, let it mix for just a minute, but don't over mix. Turn it off. You can also do this with your hand mixer. And raise it. And if it forms a little peak down in there that is very, very soft, it's not going to stand up like a stiff peak. It's going to come up and then it'll probably lay over a little bit. But it will form a little baby peak. And mine is. It's got to do that before you go to the next step. Okay? So I'm going to put this back down in there. And then I'm going to add, I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of sugar, regular sugar. 6 tablespoons. Because remember I doubled my recipe. So it's 4 egg whites, a half a teaspoon of cream of tartar, and now 6 tablespoons of sugar. And you're going to, don't dump it all in there. You're going to add 1 tablespoon, maybe even a little less than 1 tablespoon at a time, and let that get mixed up good. If you don't, it won't work, y'all. So let's get started. I'm going to add, and kind of let it go in there slowly. Don't just pop it in there. You don't have to wait long, but you do have to let it stir and add it very slowly. Now we're doing okay, so. Michael's waiting for his pie to get ready. He came in while God said, "Oh, there's my pie." After you've added the sugar, then the peak should be stiff. Be sure when you measure out your sugar that you measure it out before you start doing this. or I do, because I add it very slow, and you might forget how much you've added if you just try to pour it out of the sugar bowl as you go. I'm going to stop this just a second. Let's lift it up. Oh yeah, good and stiff. It stays on there. It stays on the beater. It doesn't slide off because it's stiff. And the peaks stay well. And right now I'm looking at it and I'm wishing that I would have added 2 more eggs and tripled my recipe. I think that's what I usually do. But I didn't, so we'll use what we've got. Now, there's one last thing we need to add. Uh-oh, look y'all. Look, it's a little peak. See the peak? That's what you should do. I need my 1 teaspoon of vanilla. That's got that taken care of. See how it just see how it stays on there and holds that peak? See that peak right there? That's what you want. Well, I'll get a big tall peak here. Big tall mountain in here. We're going that. Now, because we made a coconut pie, and let me get that and sit that over here. It's our coconut pie that we made. Well, you can't see it. Let me get something to set it on. I'll be right back. Set it on a cake plate. You can see it. Now, because we made a coconut pie, remember we have coconut in the pie itself, but what I'm going to do, you can do this or not, but I'm going to take a little coconut and I'm going to put just a little bit in the meringue. Not much, just a little bit. You don't want to mix it after you do that. You just want to kind of fold it in. We're just going to fold it in. Just give them a little added surprise. And then that's a pretty meringue. Kind of quiet tonight today, aren't I? Or during this recording, as you can tell, I'm wearing the same clothes. So I have wound down. bring my meringue all the way out to the edge of the pie. And then, if you want to, let me turn this light off behind me. Let's see. Now, how's that? If you want to, you can make it cutesy by going around and just tapping it here and there and get a bunch of little peaks. You don't have to, but you can if you want to. Just barely touch it and they will pop right up there. And that'll be fun, fun, fun. Bippity boopity dop. Whatever those little, what made me think of that? Those little people, little fairies, little, no, I don't know what they were, on Bippity Boppity Boop, that's what they said. What was that on? Cinderella, maybe? Fairy Godmothers? I don't remember. My kids have been grown for a while. But anyway, that's what I was saying, I guess. And then you take, and if you want to double your recipes, triple your recipe of meringue, you know, more you make, taller it's going to be. And then you take your coconut and you just sprinkle it all over the top. All over the top. And you need to have your oven already preheated to 350. Because we're going to pop this in there for about 10 minutes. Put plenty of coconut on there now. Don't be shy. And if you want to, let me wash my sticky hands. If you want to, you can get you a little bit of sugar. Not much. Not much at all. Just a little sprinkling of sugar, and if you want to, you can kind of sprinkle it right over the top a little bit. That's totally up to you. That's probably enough. I'm gonna put it in the oven. It's on 350. We are going to set the timer for 10 minutes and then check on it, because in 10 to 12 minutes it should be brown, lightly brown on top. Don't burn it. I'm gonna put it in here. And we'll see what we get. We sure will. Now, while we are waiting on that, wipe this excess coconut off this plate. But while we are waiting on that, because I want you to see the finished product, I think I do. I hope it doesn't look too bad. We'll see, won't we? You know how it is. It is what it is, isn't it? I wanted to share something with you, but I want to get this cleaned up just a little bit. And let me get a workbook thingy. I mean, get my notebook thing. We talk just a minute. Now see? If I was professional, my cameraman would have went with me and you could have seen where I went. I don't have a cameraman. I don't even want a cameraman. I wouldn't know what to do with a cameraman. Oh, y'all. I hope. Here's what I hope for you. I hope that you have some very good friends. If you're married, I hope you have some couples that you meet with every now and then, maybe have dinner, that you can sit and talk, and that you can talk about the Lord, talk about godly things, scripture. Iron sharpens iron, you know. If you are single, and I hope you have a couple friends. If you're a guy, some guy friends. If you're a woman, some woman friends. If you're teenagers, some teenage friends. But I hope that you have somebody, a group, you know, of 3, 4, 5, 6, that you can sit down with sometimes and just do a Bible study of some sort. We do. We have, Michael and I have a few couples, not a lot, but a few couples that we'll get together with every now and then and go out to eat and or go to each other's house or something like that. And usually we just got to eat. But we sit and we'll talk. We'll talk for sometimes we stay 3 hours at a restaurant. They know to put us in a back room somewhere. Sometimes we just sit there and giggle and tell stories. Sometimes we talk more serious. Sometimes we talk about let's get together for a few weeks and do a Bible study. And that's what we're doing right now. Is we're doing another Bible study. And one time we did it, and we did it on the book of James, you know. And we usually do it for 4 or 5 weeks. And this time, one of the ladies in our group, she said we wanted to focus on, learn about how that we as Christians are supposed to act and react to things that are going on in our world right now, in America, against Christianity. And things like that, and we want to act the proper way. We want to respond in the proper way, and we know it's in the scripture, you know, and we want to dig that out and find out before we need it. Before we need it, or it won't work. You can't do that after you need it. It'll be too late then. So we just kind of, there's a spot. That's water, y'all. And so we have been getting together, and this time, like I was going to say, one of the ladies in our group, she come across Dr. Robert Jeffries, who is a pastor at a very large church in California. I think he's in California. No, he's not. He's in Texas. First Baptist Church in Texas. That's where he's from. But anyway, I don't care where he's from. He had a series called Courageous, and it's a 10-week series of. He actually did it last year, and I think it was last summer or spring that he started it. And so in 2019, he did this series, and it was just his preaching. It was just his regular preaching, but he was preaching through this series of Courageous and the tips for survival. And I find it very interesting that he did this before we ever heard the word pandemic here in the country, you know. And he did this before a lot of things have changed in our country, and the attitude of government toward our church has really, church as you know, God's church has changed, and it's changing very quickly right now. And so she found that, and you can look online. His church is called Grace something or other, but you can just Google him and it'll tell you that. And it's Dr. Robert Jeffers is how he pronounces it, Jeffers, but I think a lot of us around here call him Jeffries, but he pronounces it Jeffers. And it's a very good study, and what we're doing is 10 weeks of his preaching, and so we're doing 2 a week. And during the week, when we're all at home, we are just watching those 2 videos of those particular, the 2 that we're on, you know, and then taking our own notes and stuff, and then we get together on Friday night, and we discuss what we have been listening to multiple times. Most of us are listening to each sermon about 4 or 5 times each sermon during the week, and we can get together and discuss that, and check it out for ourselves in the Bible. And it has been very, very good, and I want to recommend that to you. Even if you do it by yourself, but it's more fun, and it's more maybe even more I won't say educational, but it creates a deeper depth when you're with other like-minded Christians, and you're iron sharpening iron. And it's been very good. We have really enjoyed it. We get together for our last Bible study. We actually had a meal at each other's house. We go to each other's house, and whoever house we're at, that's who has to take care of whatever we're going to eat. This time we're doing just light snacks, and but we are, you have to make sure that you stay on target. It's not start talking about other stuff, but you stay on target, But we talk about stuff related to that maybe we've been through, but we are really, really enjoying it. And we've just done, I think, four studies so far. We do 2 a week. So I'm going to just give those 4 to you. The first thing is don't panic. And he gives you scripture about not panicking, staying calm, carrying on, and things like that. And then the second one is tip number 2 is gain situational awareness. Know your surroundings, know what's going on, know what you have to use, fall back on. Is there another Christian around at this particular time or whatever like that. And those 2 were very good. And then this last time we met, the 2 were take inventory. And you need to know what you have to use. You need to know your scriptures and things like that. And then the last one, in that one he talks a lot about the armor of God and stuff like that. And then the last one was you got to develop a victor's mindset. And that is true. You got to know that God's already there, been there, done that, or whatever. And so we got to go into some of these situations as a victor. And if we don't start practicing that now, things like he's talking about now, we're going to be in a heck of a lot of trouble in coming years, I'm afraid. So look into that, Dr. Robert Jeffers, and see if it's something you might like to do. I just wanted to pass that along to you, and everything. So I hope you're having a good day, and let's go check our pie. Let's go check our pie. Oh, yeah. Here's our pie. If you want yours a little browner, you can leave it in there. A little lighter, you can take it out sooner. But there is our pie. It gets a little golden on top, and some of the coconut gets a little golden on top. And there you have it. You can let that cool off for a few minutes and then dig in. And I hope you enjoy it. I know who's going to dig into this one. His name's Mr. Michael. And then he's going to run the rest of it over to our daughter's house, I think. So, you make yourself a coconut pie and enjoy. Or make it for a friend and let them enjoy. And learn more about Jesus so we know how to handle our lives. Respond and react as God has laid out in the scriptures for his children to respond and act during conflicts and even persecutions. And we need to go ahead and prepare ourselves. Don't worry about it, but do prepare yourself. And as long as you've prepared yourself in advance, he'll bring to mind what you need at that moment. if that moment ever comes, and it may not for you or for me. But be prepared, okay? Don't let this world happen to you. You happen to it. It'll surprise it, won't it? I love you guys. Have a wonderful day.